I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating.
What we're alleging
Senator.
is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
Rand Paul. Rand Paul, if he never does anything else in his political career but just smack down Anthony Fauci, it will have been a life well lived. It will have been a political career that was worth it. Dr. Fauci, the most powerful politician in the country, who's never appeared on the ballot, who no one has ever voted for, who is accountable basically to no one. Presidents come and go. Dr. Fauci remains. Fauci has been caught in lie after lie after lie about the masks and about how long it's going to go on and about this, that, and the other thing. But most notably, he's been quite dishonest on the subject of the virus's origins. He dismissed what all of us plainly saw early on, which was a connection between the Wuhan laboratory and the virus. He dismissed it. He tamped it down. He contradicted it. Then when the evidence was so obvious, he opened the door a little bit again and he said, okay, possibly. He denied that his organization at the NIH was funding gain-of-function research, the kind of research that beefed up the viruses such as COVID. He denied that his department at the NIH was funding this kind of stuff going on at the Wuhan laboratory. And he denied this under oath. Rand Paul believes he perjured himself, and I do too. Now it's clear that that did happen, and he's fighting desperately, tooth and nail, and Rand Paul won't let him get away with it.
Now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a minute.
If it did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
No one is molecularly.
Those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
you can't
not.
Get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
Time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish.
No, you are. No, I am rubber and you are glue. And Senator, excuse me, Senator, whatever you say will bounce off of me and stick to you. Okay, Senator? And that actually is probably true because the media will just cover for Fauci and will dishonestly attack Rand Paul. But what Rand Paul is saying is 100% true. And you've got to pay attention to what a talented politician Dr. Fauci is. Fauci, earlier on, you remember we played the clip on this show, when Rand Paul found out that Dr. Fauci was in fact funding gain-of-function research and was in fact funding the Wuhan laboratory, Dr. Fauci said, "That is not true. We were not funding that kind of research. And even if we were, it's totally fine." Right? He said, hold on, well, what is it? It wasn't happening, but okay, it was, and it's cool. I like it, actually. Can't have those things simultaneously. So what Rand Paul says is, you denied funding all this kind of stuff. You denied that this kind of research was going on. Now we know that both things are true. And people are going to be held responsible for funding this laboratory where this gain-of-function research was happening. Then Dr. Fauci comes out and he says, the specific grants that we were making were not specifically for viruses such as SARS-CoV-2, such as the Wu flu. But that's not what Rand Paul was saying. So then Rand Paul comes back to him, and Fauci is trying to just stall here and just kind of run out the clock. But Rand Paul's saying, no, I'm not saying that you funded this specific virus. I'm saying that you funded gain-of-function research. You funded this laboratory where gain-of-function research was happening, and you should not have been doing that. You don't need to be funding the specific virus that they're working on to know that it's a problem to be funding a place at our greatest geopolitical threat, China, where they're doing this kind of research that can shut down the global economy. And Dr. Fauci just keeps trying to just change the topic just a little bit so that he can grandstand. He's a very adept politician, which is why he's outlasted so many presidents. And you're going to see the corporate media, who none of us elected, flacking for Dr. Fauci, who none of us elected, over Rand Paul, who a lot of people elected. This is so typical. You are going to see the blob, which for 100 years now has become less and less and less accountable to the people and to our constitutional system. You're going to see them all flack for one another, and we the people are going to be called the threat to democracy. I'm so pleased that you liked that clip. I am. I'm very happy. Now I want to help you by letting you know that there's a full episode that you can watch. It's called Slipping the Surly Bonds of Earth. You can get it here on YouTube. Ring the bell, subscribe, comment. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, MySpace, AOL Instant Messenger, Hotmail. I don't know. You can get it anywhere. And you can also get my book, the #1 national best-selling Speechless: Controlling Words, Controlling Minds. See you next time.